Next on Animator Talk, how a small computer effects company making commercials and experimental short films got into the movie business. That's right, today we're discussing Toy Story's story. Coming up. Hey animation fans, Animator Talk here to celebrate the art of animation and its contribution to entertainment of yesterday, today, and into the future. You know, if you've ever wondered where the ideas come from in your favorite animated films or shows, or enjoy watching making-of documentaries to become familiar with who did what and how, then you're going to love this channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the like button on these videos to be part of the conversation. You know, if you realize the importance of how liking and subscribing to a channel can do to bring awareness to YouTube to get this channel in front of other people. So please, once this channel has a bigger presence, I have great plans for it. I have plans for guests, interviews, and lots of other big ideas. So please share this channel with animation enthusiasts and let's grow this community together. We're all familiar with Toy Story, the film that brought Pixar Animation Studios on the map. Now, many people have no idea that Pixar's beginnings really started within Lucasfilm. It's true, George Lucas was looking to utilize computer graphics in his special effects division of Industrial Light and Magic. He hired on Ed Catmull, who was developing computer animation software in hopes of creating animation. Ed would hire an old friend, John Lasseter, to be his animator. Lasseter recently found himself let go from the Walt Disney Animation Department after a failed attempt at getting a green light to produce The Brave Little Toaster. Finding this was a new beginning, Lasseter gladly joined Catmull as his only animator. In time, this small splinter of a division proved successful in providing some of the first realistic computer-generated imagery for films like The Young Sherlock Holmes. They would end up calling this micro-division Pixar. Ed and John shared their desires with George to create animated films, but George wasn't interested at that at the time. ILM was working on their own computer animation, thus making Pixar unnecessary. George offered to sell Pixar to anyone interested, and Steve Jobs of Apple Computers saw the value of this little division and purchased it. They immediately began producing animated shorts like Luxo Jr., Red's Dream, and Tin Toy. Soon began producing commercials to bring in some income. They were proving themselves very successful in their projects, bringing in little revenue. Lasseter felt it was time to advance things. It was time to take it to the next level. Lasseter had been interested in a follow-up story to the short Tin Toy, a short about a small toy who had spent the length of the story avoiding the abusive grasp of a baby. He brought this idea to Disney and offered to produce it as a Christmas television special. Disney had other ideas. They were interested in Lasseter to return to the company to direct their films. Lasseter was more interested in sticking with this new company and doing groundbreaking work, so he respectfully declined. Giving this story idea another look, Disney decided they should expand this idea to a feature-length film. Disney increased the offer to fund this and distribute their story, retaining rights to fund future films. They got right to work. The story team of Lasseter, Joe Ranft, Andrew Stanton, and Pete Docter started plugging away right away. They wanted to make sure that their film stood apart from others, as if being computer-generated wasn't enough, right? They felt like Disney had the fairy tale niche, and it seemed like there were enough musicals that they wanted to steer clear from those formulas. They just wanted to tell a great story with fun characters in a way no one has ever seen before. The story always revolved around Andy's favorite toy and his jealousy toward the new toy added to the room. In the beginning, the character of Woody was a ventriloquist dummy, and the new toy, a small technologically advanced space ranger named Lunar Larry.
Hi, pal, what you doing?
I'm Tempest from Mars!
Yeah, what's this button? Say, you weren't thinking of flying, were you?
Well,
You know Andy loves toys that can fly.
really? Well then, to infinity and beyond!
You know, And he loves toys that he can find.
They filmed their completed storyboards and sequences to show Disney what they were looking to produce. The studio was less than impressed. Woody's character was awfully mean-spirited and extremely unlikable. The Space Ranger was written very dim-witted and not very interesting. The story had serious troubles. There was no heart. There was no reason to care for these characters. The studio heads told Pixar's crew that they needed to go back to the drawing board. See what I did there? Yeah. The crew took Disney's notes and redrafted the story. One of the notes given from Jeffrey Katzenberg was to make the story and the jokes more edgy. More edgy, Katzenberg meant to push the limits of the jokes so that the adults could be entertained. This only made matters worse. They were forcing jokes and scenes to be more adult-friendly. Woody's jealousy would take his personality and his actions to a much darker place. Tom Hanks once said that his character was turning into a real jerk. The crew flew back to Burbank to present the newest treatment in November of '93. Lasseter was incredibly frustrated as it was no longer the story he conceived.
Woody! I'd just like to wish you luck. I know you'd do the same for me.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, there you go.
Whoa!
What? What are you, what's everybody looking at? What? Hey, he slipped. I tried to, I couldn't hold that. It was he slipped. Hey, I don't see him. I think he fell onto the street.
He was as good as roadkill.
He ain't going to pizza now.
Woody, you deliberately threw Buzz out the window.
Hey, it's a toy world.
Cowboy, where is your honor, dirtbag? You are an absolute disgrace. You don't deserve to wear a 10-gallon hat on your pint-sized head. Men, search and rescue. I want a medevac team on the double. Hustle up. Move it.
Hey, spuds for brains. What do you think you're doing? Off the bed. Hey, off the bed.
You gonna make us, Woody?
No, he is. Slinky.
He was embarrassed by the story reel, but played it for them anyway with his head low. Jeffrey Katzenberg pulled Thomas Schumacher aside and asked, why was it so bad? Schumacher's response was that it was no longer Lasseter's story. The heads of the Disney team grew even more weary of this project and put a halt to the production altogether. This day would be referred to as the Black Friday incident. Lasseter and Steve Jobs would ask for 2 weeks to turn this around. The execs shut down production until then and demanded massive layoffs. Peter Schneider went around the team and asked Michael Eisner to cancel the film altogether. The story team went back to rework the story again. They needed to fix this film before they blew their chances with Disney. They softened Woody's character. They made the character warmer, more well-intended, a leader of the toys in the room.
Hey, Etch. Draw. Oh! Got me again. Etch, you've been working on that draw.
He was Andy's favorite toy, and he used that loving bond as a reason for his worry and jealousy of the new toy in the room. The Space Ranger character was altered as well. His design was reworked. His scale was increased so he wasn't as meager. He was rewritten to be less naive. The name Lunar Larry was replaced with Buzz Lightyear, named after Buzz Aldrin. His new personality was less dim, slightly arrogant, and laser-focused on his duties as a Space Ranger as he was unaware that he was a toy. This film, Toy Story, was now a buddy film. The production team revisited the Disney studio heads with their new treatment. As far as Disney was concerned, the movie was already dead in the water. Until they saw this renewed treatment was enough to revive the producers' enthusiasm for this project and greenlit it once again. Under the stipulation, of course, that they allow outside screenwriting assistance. Thomas Schumacher told them they hired Joss Whedon to take over screenwriting duties. That's right, that Joss Whedon of Buffy the Vampire fame. You know, the director of the first 2 Avengers films. Overlooking current controversy, Whedon had proven a gifted television and film writer and tidied up the film's story to the version we know today. The new story treatment required a new design aesthetic. The character designs evolved around the new designs of the stars of the film. It was a fine line between keeping designs eclectic, as these are different toys and they should look like they came from different toy lines from different manufacturing companies, while keeping them still relatable in a cohesive, clean aesthetic. Joss added new characters like the neurotic Tyrannosaur dinosaur toy named Rex.
How you doing, Rex?
Were you scared? Tell me honestly.
I was close to being scared that time.
Oh, I'm going for fearsome here, but I just don't feel it. I think I'm just coming off as annoying.
And the lead characters were originally rescued by Barbie in the climax of the story, an element that would be changed when they failed to obtain trademark rights. In casting, John Lasseter had always heard Tom Hanks' voice for the voice of Woody. In trying to woo Hanks, Lasseter had sampled a sound file from the Touchstone film Turner and Hooch. Hanks was thrilled to see this test footage of a raw design of Woody acting out his old character and immediately signed on.
Oh, no, you're eating the car! Don't eat the car! Not the car! No, you stupid dog!
When it came to voicing the Space Ranger, they reached out to Tim Allen, who at the time was brand new on the scene with his hit television show Home Improvement.
And I like rebuilding, boy. Hammer, hammer. Yeah, I saw a hammer.
It took a little persuading to get him interested in reading the script until he learned Tom Hanks was involved, and he signed on. Lasseter said, casting Tim Allen to voice Buzz gave us that quality we needed of a macho guy with a soft underbelly. Tim's perfect at doing an everyday guy. Rounding out the cast were Jim Varney as Slinky Dog.
Hey, come on, Potato Head. If Woody says it's all right, then, well, darn it, it's good enough for me.
Don Rickles as Mr. Potato Head.
Ages 3 and up. It's on my box. Ages 3 and up. I'm not supposed to be babysitting Princess Drool.
Annie Potts in the role of Bo Peep.
What do you say I get someone else to watch the sheep tonight?
And John Ratzenberger of Cheers fame would play Ham.
Probably all copper wiring, huh? So, where you from?
They enjoyed working with Ratzenberger so much that they cast him in the next film, A Bug's Life.
I've been looking all over for you. Flaming Death is a huge hit!
Disney's executives continued to try to persuade Lasseter to bringing in a songwriting team. It's a formula that works for Disney, as Disney's non-musicals don't do nearly as well, and they wanted music in this film. Lasseter, Whedon, and Jobs all dug their heels in the sand. They argued it was a buddy movie, and singing characters would detract from the film's narrative. Jobs had been at odds with the studio execs throughout the entire process and was growing tired of the struggling relationship. Everyone would finally come to an agreement to meet halfway. They would hire singer-songwriter Randy Newman to write and perform original songs to push the narrative of the film. That way the characters weren't bursting into song themselves.
You've got a friend in me.
Oh hey, did you know?
Check it out!
Billy Crystal is Buzz Lightyear? True story. Billy Crystal was first thought of for the role of our favorite Space Ranger, but passed it up. Once he saw Tim Allen's voice coming from Buzz, he regretted his decision. John Lasseter would later hear of Crystal's admission and would reach out to him for the role of Mike Wazowski in Monsters, Inc. Pixar short stories. If you pay close attention to the books in Andy's bookshelves, you'll notice many of these books share the same names of some of the earliest Pixar cartoons. No Barbie and Toy Story. During production, Mattel would refuse the rights for Pixar to use Barbie in their film, feeling they wanted to protect the integrity of their property. The character needed to be changed, which resulted in the creation of Bo Peep. Once the film was released, Mattel was so thrilled with the film that they reached out to Pixar to offer trademark usage for future films. The same can be said for G.I. Joe. Once Hasbro read in the script that Sid would blow up a Joe figure, they refused to lend rights, leading to the creation of Combat Carl. Where are all the toys? You might remember a scene from Toy Story 2 when tour guide Barbie takes the gang on a tour of Al's Toy Barn. In her spiel, she drives down a Buzz Lightyear toy aisle. She mentions how short-sighted retailers fail to order enough Buzz Lightyears to meet demand. True story. Sure, Buzz Lightyear can be found in every toy store today, but anyone who had a Buzz Lightyear action figure on their shopping list in 1995 will attest they were a rare find and were sold out long before Christmas and wouldn't be restocked for many months. Studio directions. In the scene where the Pizza Planet delivery boy stops and asks directions at a Dynaco gas station, he asks for directions to West Cutting Boulevard. That was the street where the original Pixar animation studio was located until the year 2000. Toy Story was released on November 22nd of 1995. It was a marvel to behold, and many theatergoers were completely unaware of how it was made. There was even talk that it was the cleanest, smoothest, most amazing stop-motion animated film they'd ever seen. Critics were wowed. Variety wrote it had that razzle-dazzle technique and unusual look, and continued that the camera loops and zooms in a dizzying fashion that was one that would take your breath away. Time would call it the year's most inventive comedy, and Rotten Tomatoes retains a 100% approval rating today. The film recouped its $30 million budget in its opening weekend alone, and would go on to earn $223 million domestically, earning a total of $395 million worldwide. It was the second highest grossing film in 1995 after Die Hard with a Vengeance. The film received a Special Achievement Academy Award in 1996, and would earn 8 Annie Awards including Best Animated Feature. It would also win the Kids' Choice Award and the MTV Movie Award and a British Academy Film Award. Toy Story is a marvel. The crew at Pixar ought to be celebrated in all of the history books for their huge accomplishment here. Sure, if you study the visuals of the film today, it looks a little dated. It ought to. It was the first one. It's amazing, though, to see the gigantic leaps Pixar made between this film and Toy Story 2. But this film was a triumph. The road was a steep uphill climb, pitfalls all the way through production. Anything that could have gone wrong did. But Ed Catmull, John Lasseter, and Steve Jobs refused to allow the naysayers to prevent them from achieving their goals in creating this masterpiece. Until next time, you keep moving forward.